then they move on. And there's no such thing as like, oh, you should play this opening until 1600, and then you should switch. There's nothing like that. It's just like you can play any openings, you can develop any style you want. It's all a matter of trying to be consistent and not giving up too easily. The worst thing to do.
Oh, I'm trying to learn Rust. Why is every operation in Rust from the command line? I hope I'm wrong. I hope like there's just one key to run, one or two keys to build. Like I want the Visual Studio experience where I don't have to type in the command line to do anything useful. Dot. Whatever. Oh. So, in some sense, I forgot about Rust language. Rust language provides detailed code information responsive to this. When you first open a Rust project, you can watch Rust and watch its progress. Hey, Sean. Hey, Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I finally installed Rust on my machine. I executed Hello World. But I should not have to rely on the command line to build and to run the project every single time.
You just hook the build commands from VS Code into like a task runner or something.
Are you able to tell me how to do that? Somewhere there's like a setting somewhere.
Just go to like
for shortcut keys. Where is Control Q? Well, there's a search in here. So in Visual Studio, you could do a Control Q, and if you remember any of the sub menu items, you just type it, and then it'll just show up, and you click it, right?
Yeah, it should be. I just do it by hand. Control Shift P. Brings that menu up, and then this is pretty much everything. So what are you looking for?
I want to configure my shortcut keys to build and run.
Yeah. So try entering and build there once. I was gonna say because they might.
So then, if I could say build. I'm so sick and tired of going from a MacBook to a PC. I can't type anything, man. Run build task. Hold up. Control Shift B. Oh, what the hell's bells? That's the same thing. Hold up. How do I get back to my thing?
So it's Control Shift B, but then you have to pick the task, I think, from that list. For at least the first time.
All right. Control Shift B.
Yeah, the main thing is like
Control Shift B, enter. Okay,
yeah.
fine. All right. So then, if I run to run, is it just F5?
Yeah, you should be able to do that. That should bring you to debug. I know it does for Visual Studio or for C#. You might have to configure the debugger. Yeah.
All right. What container?
Click the install section for Rust.
You never messed with Rust, have you?
No. But otherwise, you might have to set up like some sort of command for debugging Rust. I don't know what Rust debugger looks like. I mean, the thing is VS Code's a configurable editor. It's not like it's an IDE, but it's a configurable IDE. So you have to like get it configured the way you want it to.
Control Shift P. Well, hold up. So I should be able to set a breakpoint, right? Okay. Where did the breakpoint go? All right. Control Shift P.
This menu. So try clicking on the. Let's just try go to the over to the left there, and you see the debugger one is like the fourth one down on the far left. The oh god, what's called the command bar or whatever. It's
It's
the
only here,
one.
right?
No, further
1,
left.
2, 3, 4. Oh,
Yeah, go to the debug section, which is the one right above where you're at. So this is like the debug thing. So, like, yeah, unless you've got like a Rust debugger for VS Code, I'm not sure.
Visual Studio has spoiled me.
Yeah, I know.
How to debug Rust with VS Code?
So you installed the Rust Analyzer extension.
Yeah.
Um, debugging. Install debugging support.
Yeah, this is what you said. VS Code is a lot lighter than other IDEs, but this comes with the caveat that it is not really an IDE. It's more of a fancy text editor.
Yeah,
It doesn't have many features.
I mean, you have to configure it to get it to go. So apparently, to start debugging, you'll need to install one of two language extensions with debugging support. So you either need to install Microsoft C++ on Windows. Yeah, that's the CPP tools, which is interesting. So you have to install the C tools in the VS Code
I already did that.
programming language, and then using Rust Analyzer debug. Let's debug. You'll need to enable setting and debug, allow breakpoint. Open man left gutter. You did that. Start debugging. Select debug code. Oh, so do Control Shift P
I
like
did
you
that.
did before, and then type in Rust Analyzer :debug. Or yeah, there it is. It's like right where your mouse is, like 3 down from your mouse. Oh, sorry, down further. Down. Well, down, 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 down. There. There's no debug target. Okay, so you have to set that debug target.
What's the target? They need to have a Rust.net.
I'm sure there's like a video of a guy who just walks through this somewheres.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I'm guessing that it's. Running Hello World Cargo Bill.
Send the VS Code for debugging. Rust Analyzer. Cargo Bill. After dinner, we should have a path. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Cargo Bill. Then we can open the terminal. Next, yeah, I did that. Sonic Breakpoints. Has Gambler said anything? I haven't looked at the chats
I'll
before
check.
I have to remember this.
No, not yet.
Open up your main RS file and observe. If we click to the left of the line numbers, we can set a breakpoint. Okay, and once we have set a breakpoint, there will be a little red circle. Okay. If we hit F5 on the keyboard, a new console window should appear, and our code should stop on that line. I did that. Hold up. F5.
Try. So, okay. Click that open a file which can be debugged or run. Maybe man.
Where do you see that at? Oh.
Or debug on Windows.
We should also see. What the freak, man? Windows launch. This is building a really good argument for, hold on, what's this up here? Oh, that's a tab running debug.
So, okay, try this once. Go to, so you installed the C++ extension, right?
I saw it C++ build tools.
The extension in Visual Studio. Did you do that? So go over to the extension manager and look up C++. Because that'll give you the debug capability. You'll have to delete what's in there right now.
Wait a second. I'm so tired of going back and forth between the MacBook and the Windows in regards to keyboard. So C++.
Yeah, it's the C++ extension. Yeah, so it's that top one there. Install that.
Yeah, I went to Visual Studio, installed the C++ build tools.
Yeah, so then go back to that debug thing, that debug panel. That should be installed now. This is the fourth one down there. And, oh, did you do something different?
No.
Okay, so you got to go to the launch config for that now. So go back into that, expand the run part. Is that, so yeah, go to, so it's add configuration. So yeah, create a launch file. Oh, hold on. Wait, it says so add configuration. What the hell? Debug. Oh, go to that top triple menu once. Oh yeah, click the add configuration. Oh, what the hell? You installed the extension, the C++ extension. Try refreshing the whole window once. Like sometimes VS Code can get a little confused. Like after an extension install. Okay, so you've got a source folder open.
Well, these are new items. Do I do C++ Windows or?
That's a good question. Probably Windows. Okay. Yeah, open launch.json. Oh, no.
Well, that looks a little bit better. We'll do the first item.
No, cancel that. Try the second one again. And then when it says open launch.json, open that now. Why does it keep going back to? Try the other one and then, okay, so now you've got your launch.json. Under configuration, you have to like configure it for this. So hold on a second. I'll drop something into chat. Drop what I just dropped into there in chat on thing. Hi Gamler. Trying to get him set up to debug Rust in Visual Studio Code, which unless you've configured VS Code a lot or have had a need to, it can be confusing.
Why do I have 196 people? What's this? We got 196 viewers, dude. 197.
That's odd.
Yeah, someone must have dumped them.
Yeah, so drop that in your configuration. No, not there. Just in the configuration part. So it's configurations. So this configuration
like right here.
Yeah, this is the same as your launch settings in.
How do you? Can I do Control KD in VS Code? No. How do you beautify it?
Well, first, undo what you just did because you deleted your. Now put it between the. So this is an array. It's just like your launch settings in Visual Studio. You know, if you've ever gone to the visual, go with it between the array. There you go. Now press enter, and right click on the background and just do There should be a format document.
I
It
hate
should
going
work
back and forth
okay.
between that MacBook and
Yeah,
okay.
it's Shift Alt F, I guess.
Shift
Why did it
Alt
not do that?
F, because I'm trying to force myself to use the shortcut keys. All right.
Try that again.
Whatever. I'll
Control
use the
Shift
mouse.
R.
Using
Oh, there.
okay, people
so
that rely on the mouse are losers.
Now let's see. So you've got a source folder. You need to find where that target is. So and then just change the name of it. So where's your workspace actually open right now?
It's in that's a good question. So in theory I should just be able to I hate this. Where is reveal and explore? You're talking about this right here, right?
Yeah, so if you go up a level. Okay, so your target's there. So this is the folder you actually want to open. So it'd be see how you're like so read that. You're gonna want to go workspace root and then probably / / target debug and then whatever you named this. Because you
Like that?
Well, you want a / after workspace root and then / So the problem is your workspace right now is up a layer from where all of your build artifacts are. So you need to go. So source is your workspace root. You need to go down a directory and then back up through that to find where your actual debug output is, or open the surrounding Hello World workspace that contains all of this extra stuff.
Where's the executable at? Execute no. Where's is the executable under target?
Yeah, go into target once. Just so we can see. So it's there, debug.
Target, debug.
And then it's hello world.exe. Okay. So like I said, the problem is though, oh yeah, you could hard code it for now, for sure. Just hard code that into the program, the whole thing. Yeah. Was it called debug? No, it's called.
I have to do because it's Windows. I have to do this now.
Well, you could use /.
Oh, that's why they had the $sign.
No, they used their workspace root was like a
verbatim.
That was a macro. No.
How did they get away with the without doing double backslash?
Just use /.
I don't know.
It's fine. It'll convert it. I'm pretty sure it converts it.
Hold up. Yeah, I should have just ponied up the money for IntelliCode or whatever it's called, IntelliJ, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The JetBrains solution.
Yeah. Now, depending on how it resolves, you might need to change your C : to just C, or whatever. Is it in a debug folder, right? It's not called debug.exe. It's called like hello world.exe, right?
It's called main. I think it's called
target /debug / hello world.exe. So you need to put another. Oh, you need to leave debug there though. Debug / hello world.exe.
I didn't see that. Hold on. Debug. Oh, okay. F5. Hey, you're so smart. It would have taken me another 5 hours to figure out how to resolve that.
Yeah, it's definitely a paradigm shift to switch to VS Code.
Now I gotta port my chess game board. Hold up. There he is. Oh, stop. Hold up. Man. Now I gotta port my chess game board to Rust. Yeah, I'm spoiled by Visual Studio.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
still sucks. I write C# in VS Code for work now, and it's just we don't have the C# extension because you have to pay for a Visual Studio license at that
It says
point.
I have 280 viewers.
But yeah, that's weird. But anyways, VS Code is it's a pain versus. So we use like OmniSharp, and it's just
What's OmniSharp?
it's the like open source version of C# tools. So C# in VS Code they have like C# based tooling, and then they have the C# like .NET C# supported like one that is Microsoft's one, but then you have to have a license for that. So we use the OmniSharp one, which is free, but it's just not as good. I don't think. So, did you finish this all? Did you get a chess game that works?
Hmm. No, man. I started binge playing chess and stopped writing code for it. This is where I left off at, which I'm sure I'll have a moment of clarity um, when I'm alone, trying to look at this file. But yeah, I think I told you I was going to try to write a chess analyzer. You know what's a hard kata to do is all right. So are you familiar with Serilog?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, I'm not.
I couldn't configure it worth the life of me without. I'd have to look up a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
I've encountered it once in my life, and I think I even have a blog post out there about it that was really old. Oh,
Yeah.
someone's
So
asking a
apparently,
question. Luke Avedon, are you a contractor? You were a contractor.
hey Luke. Um, I was a contractor for like 10 years, and then recently I became a full time employee because of this recession that hasn't yet been formally declared. So no, I'm no longer a contractor anymore. I'm a full time employee, which is different. It's weird. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. I'm kind of scared to take a vacation day. I don't know. It's weird. My mind is so used to just being a contractor or a consultant. You haven't done consulting in a while, have you, Sean?
I don't think I've ever done consulting. I've been a contractor before, but I mean it didn't feel any different than being a full-time employee for someone. It was just other than that you filled out a timesheet for billable hours, and you didn't have the promotion paths through a business, and you didn't have to deal with the organizations like politics and stuff, which was nice.
So let's imagine that you had bar user equal new user, and that had something like I don't know.
Are you doing like C# right now, or like just
Yeah,
pretend?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just pretending.
Yeah.
So that had name equal Scott. Oh no. I'm trying to remember a movie. Something McLovin. What movie was that?
It was just
Oh,
McLovin.
what was the first name? It was just
McLovin.
Nick.
It was just McLovin. He
You
was
know what
just
I'm talking
McLovin.
about? What movie?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Super bad.
But it's a first name and last name.
No, it was just McLovin.
Fine. Nick. Is that an apostrophe inside, or is it
I
like
don't.
this, or this,
I don't
or
remember. I
this?
know there's no apostrophe, but I think it might be Love N. I don't know.
Love.
I'll look it up quick.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So, and then you have like bar credential.
It's M lowercase c, uppercase L, uppercase O, L, uppercase V, I N, uppercase I N. Anyways, that's such an important part of what you're asking.
You said IN.
Yeah, are you talking about just how variables resolve in think it will.
Yeah. So then there's like I'll get to the point real fast. New credentials, and then it's something like you say username equals whatever my name, and then password equals, and then you could say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So in Serilog, I think the syntax is something like this. Or we could say user first, and then we could say credentials. I'm going to get to my point very, very soon. And then you would have like user somewhere, and then you have credentials somewhere, like that. Hell's bells. I try to implement what it means to take this hard-coded string within braces and having multiple arguments or supporting multiple arguments. It took me forever. I don't know if you realize. So, for example, you can have something like this. You could also have something like this. You could say greeting, and then your greeting could be bar greeting equal hello, like something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have complex values or basically objects or records, and then you have like primitives. It took me forever to figure out the logic, and honestly, I cheated to figure out how to resolve this and have each of my different tests, automated tests or unit tests, all pass based on the various permutations or combinations of the way you could configure a log message with various types of arguments. Do you understand what I ran into or why it took me so long to figure it out? I told you I cheated.
No, I'm trying to understand the what the problem is. I mean, I
The
understand the
problem
syntax
is
of what I'm looking at, but I don't understand why you had a problem with it. I
the
mean, I
problem
don't.
is yeah. So the problem is with Serilog, it doesn't support string interpolation, or whatever you call that word, right? It doesn't support this right here.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does.
No, it doesn't.
That's not a Serilog thing, though. I mean, it's string interpolation.
It doesn't. I was saying the same thing. I'm like, why? But apparently,
The string interpolation would happen prior to even calling into Serilog, so it definitely doesn't not support it. But the thing is once you do that, you'd be replacing the
what do you say? He says,
it,
cool.
yeah.
Cool, congrats on full time. I miscontracted myself. I'm bored as F. And then he says, every place I've been, full time employees do nothing and contractors work the way coal miners used to. I have the same sentiment, Luke. Hold up. So, Serilog and then string.
There must be something else that is failing with that.
What's this over here?
Since string interpolation is a C# or it's a C# convention or whatever, but it's or syntax. It gets run prior to actually passing it in. So like your stack would, or your actual like breakdown of that tree would be evaluate the string interpolation, take the resulting string, and then call the method with that as the first argument. The problem is probably that are you trying to mix the paradigms of doing string interpolation and passing the arguments in? Is that the problem?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Why logging doesn't use string interpolation? I've been following logging. I have a question about this. Yeah, like this is another example.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's not serial log specific, it's just the pattern of logging.
No, that works. So the only reason you might, I think the only reason you might do the pattern where you pass the arguments is because they'll log those arguments separately. If you don't care about that and you just care about the message, you can use string interpolation and not pass any arguments in. I believe that's the point.
So you're saying that I wasted hours on something that was really unnecessary and I could have just put in a dollar sign and this would have just, well, no, because they still have this over here. No, I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
What's the consequence if I put in a dollar sign right here?
Okay, so if you put in a dollar sign right there, it would try to pull in user ID, which doesn't exist. So if you do like the second one down there, which he has, you get the same log message, but I think
Yeah,
that
so the Siri log implementation is my understanding, and correct me, is like you have different formats of logging. For example, you could log it as a record, meaning there's columns and it's a table, and it will throw this logger user ID
yeah.
as a value in a cell of a row. And I think that's why it looks the way it looks.
Yeah, because I believe, and I'm guessing that this person, if you scroll down, gets to that. There's a great feature, blah, blah, blah.
Well, at least you understand my
Yeah,
motivation
I don't know.
for what I was doing.
But yeah, I think you can, so if you pass those arguments in, you can do more with them when you're enriching like your log messages and stuff. Other than just get it, because otherwise you're just literally passing a string message in and you're not giving any additional data. So but if, like I said, if all you're doing is logging the string message and you're not doing anything special with the objects that you're passing in for it, like, let's say converting them into some like JSON metadata
But
to
but I
go with the log.
was, I was, I
Yeah.
was, I
And you can do
was.
both, by the way. I did that at my last gig, actually. I string interpolated
So
and then
this
passed
is
those in anyways.
this is what I did.
Yeah.
I created a attribute called like confidential or sensitive,
Hmm.
and applied it to any property that was deemed sensitive within a class, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, this credentials dot password property, I will put a confidential attribute on the password property, okay?
Hmm.
And then I will rely on reflection to comb through whatever arguments that are passed into this log operation. Where's this
Yeah.
log operation? Like this log operation right here, and it would see, hey, this property has the confidential attribute, and then it would obfuscate whatever value that was in
Hmm.
it by using like asterisks or whatever. Uh, in addition to that, I would also serialize these complex values into JSON. So it will say received, and then it will have the JSON representation of the user, the JSON representation of
Yep.
credentials, and it would obfuscate whatever sensitive information that belonged to those classes.
Hmm.
That was the context, and I got it working. I'm just ashamed of how long it took me to get this to work. Without using string interpolation and just string processing this format, it took me a while. And honestly, I had to cheat. I had to use ChatGPT to help me. And it was still it was a huge method. Well, the method was like probably about 30 lines of code. It was bad. And it had pattern matching or regex expressions. It was bad, dude.
So why wouldn't you just pass into a string dot format though, and then just replace it with the output? I mean, I I'm not sure I understand still what the problem, or like, I'd have to like literally see what you're talking about, because I
think
feel
you're
like
trying to. I think you're trying to embarrass me.
no.
All right. So you
'Cause, I
said
mean,
so
so you're receiving
var.
in, and unless your log is replacing it, and then you're dealing with the post replacement to try to like find what was replaced, in which case might be, yeah, isn't it string.format?
I think so. So you're saying you would take this right here.
Why don't you take this and drop it into like a .NET Fiddle? Because then you could actually like play with it. You ever use .NET Fiddle?
No.
Oh
I think
man.
I have. You're talking about it's just like it's just another editor, right? Meant for
Well, it's an
like
online thing, but you can
sample
run
code.
code. Yeah. Online. So go to here. I'll drop that to you. It's just .NET Fiddle.net.
Why do I have 430 viewers? Okay. Yeah, that's throwing me off.
I hope it's all bots, other than Luke and Gambler. Do you want to get rid of them really quick? We could talk about the debate last night.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
No, I sent you Fiddle. I sent you the URL, but it's .NET Fiddle. Yeah, that works. Dude, this is my one of my favorite sites ever. So like
So how would that string format work? Hold up. So var.
First change your compiler to like whatever version off of the traditional framework, because it'll
it's C
like
sharp.
no, go to compiler, go to .NET 8, just latest .NET 8. Yeah, just to make sure that you've got all the things that you want. But yeah, so now you can basically just write code and run it in here. Yeah, obviously your log statements aren't going to work, but you can at least try the string interpolation or whatever.
I thought it was string.format too.
Maybe it's just string.toString.
So does this have IntelliSense? Hold up.
Limited, but yeah. Oh, there's format in there. So it takes the thing and then the set of our objects, right? Take an array, yeah. So just put in your,
Where so what do I still use braces? How do I do this?
Yeah, you do your braces just like you would. This is string.format is what they're using behind the scenes, right? So you should be able to do the same.
Oh, it's like 0, 1, 2, like that, right? This is the.
Yeah, if there's primitives, I think it works with named ones as well.
Okay.
I want to say, but you'd have to create like a,
How do I run it? Come here.
So you can run it, but it's not going to do
anything.
anything.
I gotta say console.
Yeah. This is just writing a program, a console app at this point. Hello.
Why is this? What's wrong with this red squiggly? Console dot.
It looks fine now. Was it a comma before?
Oh no, RDK.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making fun of my spelling. Okay.
Hello. Yeah.
So you're saying why didn't I do that? Well, because this requires. I thought this requires indices. Is it indices or? Yeah, it's indices, right? That's plural. It's not indexes. So you can't say you can't do this. I don't think, right? Please tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, that's why.
But then you need like an object name that, don't you? Or is it expected in ASCII digit?
String.format requires you to pass in this type of format.
So they have an extension on it where they're doing a special.
Who has an extension?
Like Serolog, the way that they're doing it.
They have something. They have their own implementation. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
So what I was saying is, it took me forever to try to. Where am I at? It took me for greedy. It took me forever to implement a logger that would take a combination of primitives and complex values. And so I finally I tapped out and I was like, ChatGPT, man, you got to help me. And it generated like a 35 line like method. And it made me feel better. It calmed my ego because I'm like, all right, it's not just me. This is relatively not trivial. So
Yeah, I see. So they're using like with the name or whatever, they're using something special to parse their strings or like a different library or something. Okay. I
good. So
That's
I don't
odd.
feel too ashamed now. Yeah, so I want to port this code that I have to Rust, which I don't know. Maybe I'll try to force myself to sit down for 2-3 hours on the weekend and try to understand what discriminated unions mean in Rust. What are records in Rust? Well, all the functional concepts, the map filter reduce. I would like to figure out how all that stuff works in Rust. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, they must use a special formatter.
Isn't serial log's whole thing that it's structured logging and not logging plain strings? That's my understanding, Gambler. Is let me stop presenting right. My understanding is that you have different formats that serial log supports. I don't know. I guess the loose format as is, or like, tableized format, which I doubt if that's what they call it. So I thought it was going to be interesting code kata or exercise because I mean it was professional or it was for work, but I'm ashamed of how long it took me. I still think I'm the only person that regularly writes unit tests to try to figure out figure out the logic or what code to write in order to satisfy something.
What do you mean?
I hate no, and you're going to disagree with me. I hate when people say, "Okay, I'll get a pull request," and I'm like, "Hey, did you write an integration test to qualify this before I look at it?" It's like, "Oh, we don't have time." I hate that. And you probably agree. You probably agree with that answer or that response.
The thing that I hate about like up front. So no, it depends. Like I think it depends on how well defined the problem is. Um, and usually things in haste aren't well defined. And so when you write like and how mature your testing like framework and stuff is and setup and stuff like that and how easy it is to write. But like I hate writing tests too early if you know like things are still very like loose in your understanding because you're just codifying something that might not need to be codified because it might be wrong. Like because you can write an integration test that makes sure it does what you want it to do. You can also just test it as an end user once and verify it. But if you're not sure that thing is the thing that actually needs to be done, you're wasting time.
So, okay, I don't really agree with that.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you're asking another human being to review your work and the policy is they have to review it in order for your code to get it into the system,
Mm-hmm.
I think there should be prerequisites. I think you should, especially if we're talking about APIs, you should go through the experience of the API consumer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
And
with
I think
that.
that should be done. And like the whole we don't have time, like that's such a common excuse that is directly, I believe, correlated to the failure rate of projects. And I mean, that's just my opinion, right? It's I don't understand the concept of writing anything that is reasonably involved and not having automated validation to give a reasonable confidence that it works the way that we had originally intended it to work. Like we get paid to automate stuff. I don't understand why there's such a huge restraint for us to automate that our stuff works in the first place.
Yeah, I think it depends on like what's happening downstream after the merge on whether I'd agree with you or not. So if you're and then other constraints like release dates and vendor promises and stuff like that.
It
There's a lot
doesn't
of
take
factors at play, man.
it. Once you write your first integration test, which I'll say maybe if it's your very first one, depending on the dynamics, let's say that it takes you, I'm going to be very generous. Let's say it takes you half an hour to figure out what it means to write your first integration test. Everything else really should be cookie cut. It
Yeah, well,
shouldn't. Everything else shouldn't really take more than max 10 minutes. Honestly, it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, but I'm being generous with 10 minutes.
I don't know, man.
What is the value of that compared to? Okay,
There's some things that take a lot of setup to get to the condition you're at. Like if you're 20 steps into a workflow and you have to complete all of those 20 steps to get to the part that you're integration testing, those tests could be pretty complex unless you've built up the capability to run automation up to that point to get you to that point and then go. Like I said, it depends too on what's happens after you merge then. Is there a quality tester? Are you releasing this tomorrow because it's due? Or is it like being released like in 3 months?
the latter.
Okay, so it's being released in 3 months. How tight is your schedule in terms of other things you have to do within that time frame?
It's
Like,
tight.
yeah. So you're like, I could agree with you. It depends on how much, like the overall picture and what your other processes are in place to capture that, on whether I'd agree with you that it'd be okay to bypass it.
Should you ask another human being to review the quality of your work if you're not willing to
I don't think code
write an
reviews are
automated test
quality
yourself?
reviews.
Oh, I don't think so. Well, I'm
It's
gonna
usually
explain
a chance
myself.
for people to
It's a
to, to
rubber
argue
stamp.
about. Yeah, usually it's a chance for people to argue about syntax and
No.
how they like to write code.
So
Occasionally
with
you'll
that
get
statement
like a.
given, with that statement provided,
Mhm.
wouldn't there be more value with the prerequisite before a pull request of saying, here's the test that qualifies my pull request that I'm asking you to perform. And then I could have greater context of looking at what it means to set up, what it means to test, what it means to verify the capability that I'm being asked to review. To me, it just makes sense. But no, we don't have time. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my point too. I like sanity testing.
So
And
you
then
want to use any formatting, but dumping the relevant stuff to serial log. And so this is 10 minutes ago. Of course, I'm sure
yeah,
he
it's the next
wrote
one.
that. Wow. Yeah, yeah. In regards to the formatting, but we are using formatting. Hence the use of serial log. The other one is, well, I often do not ask for testing for our products, which have barely any customer. Like I do only sanity testing, no automated integration testing. Once a product has a customer base and it's here to stay, then I invest in integration tests.
Yeah. So
So what he's
here's a
explaining,
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
what I think he's explaining is the difference between an MVP versus a customer that is waiting.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of this depends on there's so many factors that depend on what's the right thing. So there's no like I can't just say to you, yeah, integration tests, you should have them 100% of the time for this because there's so many other factors at play. Like you're telling me that, let's say you have until, let's say 9 o'clock this morning, after this call is done, to release an API that you're going to push into code review, and you haven't written integration tests yet for it. But if you don't release it by 9 a.m., then your company will lose out on a $10 million customer. You would hold that until integration tests are written. You would get overridden.
The short answer is I probably won't. But you're using a very extreme
Yeah, I am. Because
scenario.
context matters, is all I'm saying. If
Yeah,
somebody's
but
holding a gun to your head and said, merge this,
okay,
or
so
you're
I'm
gonna,
telling you right now that
context
wasn't the
matters.
context. I'm telling you right now
I
that
know.
wasn't the context.
Yeah, okay. So then it depends too on, like I said, how other contextual things, like how often is the feature going to get hit, how like soon as they're going to release, how many people are going to be using it on release,
So okay,
like
so how often the feature is going to get
how
hit?
well known it is.
Why does it matter if it breaks in production? And how expensive is that going to be?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's contextually something that should be asked.
What I'm saying is there shouldn't be an argument about this. There shouldn't be a developer discretion. I would like to speak in absolutes and say any code that is going to production can fail, and you're required to minimize the risk of failure with emphasis on minimize. Else, it costs money to resolve, to address.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't understand how this. I'm not attacking you, but
Yeah.
I don't understand in industry why that is something that has to be up for debate. It boggles my mind how this is something that is always up for debate when we're the professionals. It boggles my mind.
I think it's
This isn't a pet project. This is a paying customer or paying
Yeah.
customers, and it's like, oh, we don't have time. Well, how much time do you have to debug it? And it's just, this is where I'm in love with philosophy, man, because it forces you to really think about what, right? So,
Well, yeah, and that's but the thing is that, I mean, you're getting on the point there that oh gosh, I'm just completely lost my train of thought. Oh god.
good, I won.
No. So, but it all comes down again to just context. And the reason we have this debate all the time, and that's what I'm getting at, the reason why we have this debate all the time is because context matters and nobody's in the same situation. And so in this case, it doesn't make sense. In this case, it does. In this case, it doesn't. In this case, it does. In this case, it doesn't right now, but in later, it should be. This case, it's covered by other end-to-end tests or something like that. So why write the integration test? This one is covered by, a ton of unit tests on the one hard part, and one smoke test solves it, like manual smoke. There's so many variables at play that, and then release dates and times and risk of what actually happens if something breaks. Like, is it, if you release it and it breaks, is it going to cost someone $1 million, or is it like, oops, we just need to update a database field and we'll fix that, and then we'll release a bug patch if something bad happens. Like, there's a ton of stuff at play there that now I agree that it needs to be
all
tested.
this for 30 minutes
Yeah.
of maximum investment to
Well,
get that tested.
depends. Like
And
I
that's the
said,
first test.
no, depends. What if it's
Okay.
30 steps into a workflow? How hard is that to mock out? Have those other 30 steps been written? Are you writing the 30th step because that's the piece that you were assigned in this workflow, and you don't have the other 30 steps ahead of you ready? I mean, there might be something where you put it out there because you're going to write the test later. Like, I know your context. I don't know your context. So you might be right in your context, but we can't just take it as a vacuously true. Like, tests are guaranteed and must be written. Now, testing should be done, but how is it an automated test up front?
We work in automation. I don't understand why not.
Yeah, but there's a lot of crap.
We get paid. We get paid to
manual testing.
automate. We
There's
get
a
paid
lot
to
of
automate.
yeah, but automation comes after a manual thing. You automate what first needs to be done manually. Everything we do is automation. So we
I think.
test manually, and then we automate our tests away. That's manual, right?
Okay, so let's take your arguments.
Yeah.
You're funding the project. Do you still have the same arguments
Yes. Yeah.
of
Depends on
okay?
my needs and what
All
the
right.
risks are.
Remember, you don't have a government budget, right? Your funds are finite for this project,
Yeah.
meaning that you're funding QA, you're funding developers, you're funding all the other entities. So when a bug occurs, think about the meetings, the cost of meetings to realize that bug, to have a conversation about that bug,
Yeah, but what am
paying
I
the
trying to
developer
accomplish as the
2 times to revisit that bug, right?
Yeah, I literally don't care depending on what I'm trying to do in my business. Like it's all
You literally
contextual.
don't care what you're trying to do in your business.
If I'm trying to give a demo to get potential like investors in something, they generally they know that first round things are a little buggy sometimes.
If
As
you're
long
trying
as
to give
I
a
know
demo,
around.
you're demonstrating that something works. It
Yeah,
shouldn't. That's the whole point of a demo.
yeah, but if I'm just like if I'm just trying to get funding, like I haven't even sold the idea yet, like and I'm just trying to give some sort of like idea of this is how it works and here's a seed of what we have. Bugs happen. It's early
All
code.
right. That context is an MVP. I said we're not doing an MVP.
Yeah, you said if I'm funding a project, well, you never said which. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Context
All
matters.
right. Okay.
I don't know what your situation is, so I can't tell you whether it makes sense or not.
I'm trying to restrain myself from exposing details that I'll get find
Yeah,
out.
don't. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I said, it's all about. I think that the problem with any absolutes in software is that everything context matters. Like everything. Your
Yeah.
decision to do X, Y, and Z was always a decision nobody goes into a job thing saying like I'm going to make the worst decision possible for the context that I'm given. Like everybody is doing what they think is best at the time unless they're being malicious, right?
I disagree. People do what they
What
think they
they
could get away
think
with.
is best.
People do what they think they could get away with.
No. People do
No?
what they no. They don't do that. Unless they're being malicious. I mean, that's different. Like then you're
People,
intentionally trying to.
people aren't quote unquote expected to do 8 hours, but depending on their skill set, they could get away with 5 hours or 6 hours and still deliver what's being asked.
That's fine, whatever.
Okay,
You're not getting
okay.
paid by your time. And if you're a salaried employee, you're not getting paid for your time.
Would it be fair to say that some people have the expectation that you are? If you're
They're
again,
wrong.
you're
Then you
funding
should
the
be paid
project.
hourly.
Hold up, hear me out. Hear me out. You are funding a software project,
Hmm.
and you are not a developer. You're what most people are when it comes to managing software, an accountant or someone that is not an engineer. Okay, you mean to tell me that as someone that's not an engineer, as someone that is an accountant, and you're managing a software project, that you don't care about the developers putting in 5 hours versus the 3 hours that
No,
they're not putting in? Okay.
I care. So I have milestones. I've got deliverables. I want things done by X. These are my expectations. Get them done. Now, if they don't meet the expectations, then you have a question of why, and then you might get into well, people weren't carrying their weight.
Would you agree that a significant number of people that are managing software projects work in finance or have finance skill sets?
Sure,
Okay. With that said, you mean to tell me
in
that
upper management, like C-suite and middle man, like not software
so
engineering managers, but
so so with that said,
yeah,
you are not considering as part of your skill set how to minimize waste in regards to money?
It's not
Well,
wasted.
that's the point that I'm trying to get to is I really believe that the majority of people that are accountants that are managing software projects, they absolutely care about the time that developers or engineers are putting in because they don't know how to measure progress when it comes to software engineering.
Yeah, and that's wrong. You measure by deliverables and outcomes. That's
Okay.
what. So I'm fully in favor of outcome only, like delivery. You build this. This is the expectation. This is what we want. You tell me up front if you think you can do it. You can do it. Okay. Well, I expect it now. This is your deliverable date. Can you do it sooner? Yes. Okay. What do you think is reasonable? This date. Okay. This is now the milestone. I'm expecting it to be done by then. However that happens. Now, if
It's
you
not
hit
as
a
that straightforward. It's this date only if we have the following dependencies resolved. We need access to this system.
yeah,
We were waiting on the license for this software.
that's part of project management and stuff like that. But the thing is I don't care if you're telling me like if you are waiting on that stuff and the thing is actually there's a lot of just people don't understand how to work around dependencies and not having them in place. You can write a lot of code without a dependency available. Like I feel like that's a crutch that people use a lot of times. That's a totally different topic, but it's you know the amount of hours that someone works shouldn't be a big deal. What if I have somebody who just likes working and they want to work, 18 hours a day? Go for it. What if they're otherwise a half-assed developer, but they put in so many hours and they like working that? Should I? What if they're a great developer, but
Yeah,
they put all of their stuff into 4 hours and they can get a lot of work done in 4 hours, but after that, they just get burned and they need to like reset. Why should I care about how many hours they worked as long as they're getting done what they need to get done?
because most people aren't as pragmatic as you.
Yeah, well,
They're accountants. They care about the cost.
yeah. Then the cost is, but the thing is too that we are not paid for our time. If you're a salaried developer, you're not paid for your time.
Well, a lot of management in software believes that we are commodities.
Yeah, well then we should be
We're
paid hourly.
interchangeable.
Then we should be tracking hours and being paid hourly. It's a different thing.
That's the way it's done.
No, no. The thing is that if you're paid salary, you're not paid for your time. You're paid for your services. And services don't have to be necessarily now there can be expectations that your services are delivered around these times of day within around these many hours, but that's just part of your like contractual obligations. So
You have any plans this weekend?
no, just trying to do so. I ran the marathon last weekend.
Oh shoot! How was it? You finished?
Awful. Yeah, I finished. I got my finisher medal here. This is my bib, but I did.
I like when you finish her.
Yeah, but I did crap, dude. So my splits were really good up until were good where I'd like them to be up until like maybe mile 16, and then I just turned to dog crap, and it was a slog after that, all the way to the end. I think I had my I think I was less than a walking pace for my last 2 miles. Like it was awful. So I
Well,
didn't like. I wanted to do it better than let's say 5 hours is where I was trying to target. Better than 5 hours, and I ended up because I did it in like 5:13 a couple years ago, and I ended up doing it like in 5:38 or something like that. It was
slacker.
bad. Yeah. So I'm like, I
Were there
told my
any
wife beforehand.
Africans?
What?
Were there any
Oh
like
yeah.
elite Africans in the race?
Yeah, I think the Kenyan guy. This is his sixth time winning it. So this is his
It
sixth
amazes me
time
how
winning
that's
it.
how people. It amazes me how that's how some people make their living. They just collect 15,000, 30,000,
Yeah,
for 3 hours of work. Obviously, it's more hours, right? Because they have to train for all that. Really.
yeah. But so I told my wife beforehand. I'm like, if I meet my time of 5 hours, and I'm not gonna do these again. I'll be done.
Don't
Nope.
retire.
nope, I got to do it next year now. Damn it. And I'll keep
Yeah.
doing it until I either die or I meet that time.
I mean, your foot held up, or that was the reason?
No, my foot. So I think I might have adjusted my stride to account for my foot, and so like my knee and my back of my leg, where the tendons are or whatever,
Mhm.
got all twitchy and weird towards the end, and I was like, "What's gonna happen here? Is this gonna snap or something?" I was like, "What the hell's going on?" So there was that, and then yeah, I guess that was the main thing. I did kind of like a retro on it. I think main things are I didn't walk as much as I did last time. Um, I didn't do any strength training, which I think is actually a major thing. And then just the general, I need to drop weight prior to running it. So um, that's a huge bit. But the strength training one was a lot. I could tell, like in even a recovery, dude. 2 years ago when I did it, I recovered. By that night, I was walking around just fine and good. And then by the next day, I think I was just fine. I was 3 days later, I was still sore after this one. Like it was that bad. So, um, yeah, but
I found a new way of losing weight, and people were like, "Oh, Scott, man, are you sick?" Like, so
did you get AIDS? No, just kidding.
that would require me to be sexually active. I
Oh,
wish. Well, not the AIDS part, but nah. So I don't have any food in my fridge or in my cabinets, which means that I have to, if I'm hungry, I have to literally like go out and get it. And that condition has resulted in me eating once a day for like the past like 4 weeks. I've
oh, so
lost
you're
like 10
fasting.
pounds. Apparently, I didn't know fasting was eating once a day, but it's
Well,
kind of like John
that's
Simon
a
said something similar.
well. He did OMAD. I don't know if he still does it because I think that there's something wrong with OMAD, which is the 1 meal a day thing. That's a fasting schedule of like what is it, 16-8 or something like that, or is it like 24 or something like that?
What does that mean?
So there's different fasting protocols, intermittent fasting protocols. Like there's 16-8, which is like you have a 16-hour fasting window, and then you eat for 8 hours. You can eat normal, you know. So you might also do like if it was a 20 OMAD 1 meal a day, it's probably more like 22. You got like a 2 hour eating window, and then like everything else is like fasting, right? Um, so I think 16 hours is kind of like I want to say that that's like the minimum to get into like a fasted state, and that depends on what you eat too. Some people do also like every other day or like once a week they'll just not eat for 24 hours, or they won't eat for longer. There is some
Well,
risk with, I think there's they did like a study, and I don't know if it was I don't know the details of the study, but there is some like increased uh, potential for like heart failure with certain kinds of fasting. But it could be that everyone who's doing it was just overweight, that I don't know. There's a lot of like questions I have around that I haven't gone out and looked for answers on. But you also can't sell fasting in a jar, so uh, it's probably good for the drug companies to say fasting is bad for you. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
that's you need to get into ketosis. That's the key, and fasting is one way to get into ketosis. Um,
what's ketosis?
so basically, when you're normally during the day, let's say you're eating, you're consuming sugars in your body that you have. That's the first fuel that you consume.
Are
Your
you talking
body,
about this is about reserves?
yeah, so your body has like a priority system in fuels that it uses.
Yeah, I understand it. You don't have to
Yeah,
go
so
into it.
sugar, glycogen, and then it'll go to fat. So ketosis is when your body releases ketones, which are what breaks down fats to deliver for energy. That's basically it.
Yeah.
It's
So,
the
I mean,
like
I
opposite
cheated.
of insulin.
I cheated Wednesday night. I bought 2 large Papa John pizzas and smashed both boxes. Well, I smashed the first box that night, and then the next box morning for breakfast and lunch. And I think, I think I'm just gonna resume 1 meal a day, probably for another 2 weeks.
Have you
But
tried doing a long fast before?
I don't think the short answer is no, and I
And
don't
are you
think
working out too?
I don't think my body will sustain it. Yeah, I'm working out five out of 7 days, man. So like my workouts are, they may be considered normal, but on the empty stomach, they're brutal.
Yeah, yeah. Are you doing so? Like you, I think the one thing about fasting is that you don't want to exercise. Like it's better when you're resting. Like your body likes using fat when it's resting. It freaks out if you're doing like heavy workouts fasted, though. I think is that's the case. Of course, there's maybe other people would disagree. I don't know, but I would consider eating around your workout times.
I wonder if aliens have the same problems we have. You think they diet? They fast?
Maybe they don't have females in their world, or maybe they are all females, or
That would be a game changer. That's why they would be advanced alien races, because they don't have to. They're more productive,
yeah.
right?
Then the only reason to work out and stuff is to just try to keep mental acuity and health. But
Yeah. Whenever I have a woman, I gain weight, and I'm less accomplished. It's the pursuit of a woman. I lose weight and I'm more accomplished. It's a weird paradox. It's kind of, yeah.
it's not a paradox. It's what it is. Like everything that we have revolves around the
Sex.
sexual hierarchy. Yeah, it explains everything.
We terraformed this planet not because it was for society, it was because we wanted coochie. And it was a way to impress.
Yeah, because it's
in that order.
we have a huge drive to continue the human species, and although it's weird that birth rates have gone down, but we solved it. We were able to.
Policies.
We were basically able to simulate mass population growth through contraception. Think about it. Like, think of how many babies would be born if we couldn't do contraception.
Yeah.
Or abortions or any of that.
Well, yeah, there would just
Like
be
the
a
birth
higher
rate would be insane.
So would the murder rate.
Yeah, because resources would start to.
Well, resources and who bears more children, affluent or poverty or impoverished.
Well, you take away contraceptions and stuff like that, they would be equal, probably.
If you're not Mormon or Catholic,
well, Catholics Catholics have a lot of kids. Mormons don't usually. No, do they? I don't know.
I think they have a lot of it.
Broods?
I
Yeah,
thought they had hella kids too. My
Anyways, okay.
argument is if you're not Mormon or Catholic, the argument I was trying to make is poor people generally have more kids than anybody else, with the exception of, I would argue, those two religions, or basically people that are very religious. Right?
But that's because that's because of contraceptions. You take away contraceptives.
That's what I meant by the murder rate would increase.
Yeah.
Not so much, yes, because of like more resources to compete for, but my point that I was driving is you have more ignorant people that tend to be more emotional, and within impoverished cities, it's usually a single parent, and we tend to duplicate the behavior of people that were always around, hence single parent moms. And so that's what I meant by more murders, because they would act out more irrationally or emotionally. So,
you got any plans for the weekend?
You're
gonna ride to Rust.
Dude, I want to get this new motorcycle, but I don't have any money. This motorcycle is like $50,000 and I want it. Well, it's $45,000 when I have everything hooked up between the bike and then the full race exhaust.
Were you gonna
That's my
buy a
answer
Tesla
for what are my plans
motorcycle?
this weekend. Nah, electric is too quiet. I'm like, it's weird, man. I don't know if you call it nostalgia. I don't even know what the definition of nostalgia is, but the the sensory details of an engine just add so much more value than I think most things.
Oh yeah, no, that
So
makes sense. There was I can't remember what movie it was, but there was a movie where these like the job of one of the guys was building sound systems that would go into electric cars to make it sound like they were
yeah, that's
like
stupid.
yeah. It was
My car
just
has
like
that. It's dumb.
yeah. What it actually makes the noise of like "Rrrr."
So I have a Genesis
Yeah.
mid-size sedan or mid-size SUV, and so it's a V6, and there's a setting where you can you can give it more sound, more engine sound through the audio speakers.
Oh, weird. Yeah, no, this was more like projecting sound out of the vehicle, but
So you put it in you change the you put it into sports mode, and the dashboard lights up in like red and
yeah,
really
our
like
Hyundai does that too.
and then when you because it's the same company,
Yep,
right?
yeah.
Genesis, Honda. And then so when you mash on the gas pedal, you're like, and it's not the engine, it's the speakers.
Really?
So it's dumb.
I mean, ours is. I mean, the
What's
RPMs
weird is
fly up
someone
when you're in
literally
sport
requested
mode.
that feature, and they say, okay, we'll put that into production.
Well, you know, I don't know, they do a lot with technology. Hyundai does.
Dude, I have 673 viewers.
I
That
don't. I
means
bet
two or
they're all.
three people must have left and just. I don't. Maybe it's a DOS that hasn't yet been realized yet. A denial of service. But you would need like I don't know a couple 100,000.
Maybe you just say, hey, if there's anybody actually watching, please, other than Gamler and Luke, please comment so that you know that they're. I don't think
Yes.
there's. I think it's all bots, probably.
Well, why would a bot? How does a bot consume video and audio?
The
Like,
same way a human does.
what would be the motivation? Like, that's the question I'm asking.
I don't know. Probably to drop into your thing. Hey, I can set up edit your
Yeah, they're
YouTube
not
videos
advertising
for
anything yet.
$10 million.
Yo,
Please
I mean,
kindly
I
do
don't.
this.
I have really dry content. And it's really not intended for viewers. It's just you and me. For me, it's therapy. But yo, if this is sustainable, man, I'm gonna get an OnlyFans account. So, like, and on that note, I think I'm
Yeah, I
done.
suppose. All right. Well, I'll catch you.
I
Actually, next week is it?
don't
It's the
have any
5th.
plans for the weekend. I want to ride my bike, and I think I might. I think I might travel to Cape Canaveral on my motorcycle, which is going to be a very painful trip.
Why? Wouldn't it be
It's like
nice?
5 hours, and I'm six
Oh,
foot seven, folded up on a motorcycle.
oh yeah, I suppose. Drive your Hyundai or your Genesis. Sorry, I'll stop calling it a Hyundai.
I'm proud that I have under 10,000 miles. And I had that car for 3 years. I
That
don't like
sucks,
putting
man.
miles on it. I don't like
Yeah,
putting miles on it.
you at
I used
least
to
turn
drive
it
it to the
on
grocery
every.
store. I used to drive it to the grocery store, and then I stopped going grocery shopping.
Yeah, make sure you still turn it on and stuff. Otherwise, it'll go bad. Did you ever fix your audio system?
No.
Jeez, come on, man. That's what turned you off from driving it. So
Yeah.
next week's 4th of July on Thursday.
Did I get paid today? I wonder if we got paid today.
I don't know
I
if we
got
got
check.
paid today, but I think I'll let you know early next week if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I've got something going on that night of the 4th. I mean, we're gonna probably watch fireworks and stuff, but I don't know if the 5th, if I'm going to be consumed or what. Yeah, well, for now, let's just plan on still doing it next week, unless you've got something going on, and then I'll let you know if I have to cancel for the holiday.
All right.
All right.
That's
good one.
cool, bro. See ya. Bye, Gambler. Take care. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.